Hey MGTOWs, Vention here. Just enjoying my Friday. Well, as much as I can anyway. Today, I'm home from work. I took a sick day. And the reason is because I've had a nasty little problem with my knee for the last few weeks. And it like heals up and then it goes bad again, then heals up. And I got a doctor's appointment for a specialty doctor. Some friends of mine at work had good luck with, so they're going to take a look at my knee. The thing. It's sore, and then it kind of clicks, and I'm afraid it might be something they call a torn meniscus, which is the padding between the two bones. And if that's the case, that's something that will never heal. It might heal a little bit, but then as soon as you do anything wrong, like kneel around or be a diesel mechanic, you will you'll start hurting again, and then it starts swelling up, and it's a big, huge pain in the butt. So that's just one more situation. Medical problems like that are just one more situation where the MGTOW lifestyle can really help you out. You can develop a very low cost of living, a very frugal lifestyle, and you can basically save up a very good. Sorry, I was just eating a big salad. Anyway, you can save up a ton of money. You can and a big, huge surplus, and then you can also withstand a sharp curtailment of your income, which is what would happen if you can't work. So basically, I am enormously better off. Like my neighbor over there, who lives in that house over there, they he is works in a job where he is on his feet all the time. It involves a lot of walking, and he has recently developed a lot of hip problems, and he is. Luckily they found another job for him within the same company, but if he couldn't change jobs, if he was forced to only do what he was originally doing, then basically he'd be fucked, right? And he has they got their house paid off and everything, but he's got a wife to sort of support. She's kind of working in this low-paying job, but basically he would be in a bad way. But me, even with my house payment, I would be a good deal better off. But that also got me thinking about medical bankruptcies. And man, the family court is not the only kind of court that can rape you. There's like these giant medical bills that people encounter, oftentimes like toward the end of their life cycle. They are like 80, and then they get sick, and then the insurance doesn't cover it, and then whatever meager assets and accounts and everything that they've been able to save up, it's immediately wiped out, and then they are one of the millions of people who go bankrupt because of medical bills, right? And then I was watching a YouTube video about that, and this couple, they're living in a mobile home, whereas they used to own a couple of businesses and rental property, and then the husband had a heart attack, and it just wiped them out. But that brought me to things like encrypted assets and precious metals, and MGTOW especially are aware of the necessity of keeping some of your assets outside of the conventional financial system. Because if you don't, man, you are vulnerable. You can get taken to the cleaners by a lawsuit. You can if you like have a car accident and your car insurance isn't enough to cover the person's life support or something, then basically they can come after you for anything additional, right? And if that's the case, they could come after you for your house and your savings or whatever, or your other assets. And if you have any extra like rental real estate, they can come after all of that stuff, stocks, bonds, but they other assets just don't show up on their books, and that's like bitcoins and precious metals and stuff like that. And in time, over the next few years, we're going to see an increase in encrypted assets like through the Ethereum network, smart contracts, and like companies that will want to raise some funding, so they will actually issue stock on exchanges that are outside of Wall Street and totally within encrypted networks. I think the guy who runs Overstock.com is working on something like that. Well, anyway, if you can do that, you'll be able to buy some stock in a company, and the only owner will be a big long string of numbers, right? And nobody will necessarily know that you own those stocks. And in order to exchange them for something like bitcoins or gold or whatever, you can then go on an exchange and then just sell the asset totally outside of the conventional financial system. And that I'm looking forward to, because the current financial system that we have and the current government system that we have does just such evil, such just horrendous thing, and screwing men over in divorce court is only just one of those things. There's like all of these black ops people. If you guys are familiar with the Money GPS, his video today briefly went over some of that monstrous crap that the inflation that we're that's being inflicted on us, and other, all the taxes and whatnot. They are funding like black operations like that, like sending people to get tortured, and then and other people just disappear, and just torture and just nasty brutality, and all of that stuff is being funded by all of these sheeple who are totally in the system, and they have like a brokerage account with E-Trade or whatever, and they're so part of the financial system that, and they just are being like just totally their money and their assets and their life is being diverted away from them, and they're nothing but, just like in the Matrix movie, they're just a battery, and they're being used to fund the whole nasty evil system. And that's the thing I am so hoping for and so looking forward to, with like things like Bitcoin, Ethereum, Made Safe, and platforms like Open Bazaar. Those things, they promise to remove a lot of our wealth and our life, and it'll make it very difficult for these big, huge, giant, evil government entities to sponge off of us and parasitically suck our life out. The life we spend working, and they just take, just money after money in so many different ways, through inflation, through promises, and that fake ass Social Security Ponzi scheme that they've jammed down all of our throats, whether we wanted it or not. And I might actually get a little bit of that, but people who are younger than me, like 30 or something, man, they might not. It'll be like they'll be getting coupons or something. But man, it's a nasty, brutal business. But man, all of these encrypted technologies, they could save our ass. They could save us from these horrendously nasty, evil, black sections of the government that are totally off the books. And when you do a Freedom of Information request, you get a bunch of pages that have nothing but markers all the way across, which is like absolutely useless. It's like complying with the letter of the law without the spirit of the law. So, yeah, nasty business. So here I am, Friday. It's a beautiful, gorgeous day. I was just eating my lunch in the sun and listening to the birds up in the trees and everything, and it was very nice. But there's so much I can do, but man, my fucking leg is just screwed up. I'm just gonna take it easy. Oh man, it's a shame too. I mean, the chemtrails are up there. They're spraying, and then the chemtrails, like, they spread out, and then it turns the whole sky overcast. It was a blue sky a little while ago. Now it's nothing but that haze. But but basically, oh, and another thing, ran into another reason why I'm happy I'm a MGTOW. Yet another one of my fellow mechanics, I discovered that he's paying $1,200 a month to support an ex-wife of his that divorced his ass about like 8 or 9 years ago, and he's been paying maintenance, spousal support. And here everybody says, or a lot of people say, that Washington State is not an alimony state. That's because they call it something else, spousal maintenance or some shit. Paying $1,200 a month. And she took his house, of course, and she's sucking $1,200 a month out of him, and basically he's living in a mobile home with another wife. He married again, and he probably only makes about maybe 2/3 of what I make, because I don't have that giant freaking bill being sucked out of my paycheck every single month. How completely immoral and ridiculous. Paying alimony. Jeez. Crazy. Okay, well, I wanted to gripe about that too. So, thank goodness I'm a MGTOW. And that's not the only financial disaster that we can encounter, but it's certainly one of them. But just because you won't ever get married doesn't mean that you won't run into some kind of really nasty legal problem, a huge medical bill, or some kind of other nasty, like a lawsuit or something, or something. The feds, the feds can come down on you if you own a piece of property, and maybe you dig a little decorative pond or something, and then the feds can come down and say it's a wetland and you're violating all kinds of shit, and then they can dump fees and fines on you that are just absolutely catastrophic, like $30,000 for every day of violation. Something like that can just wipe you out in like 2 or 3 days, and that is just such the reason why men or all citizens actually, have to be able to have something that the government can't touch. They can kick your door down, and they can actually, find where you keep your precious metals or whatever, if they know about them. But if you have your bitcoins encrypted right and stored with a really good password, then there is not really much they can do about it. They can throw your ass in a cell and insist that you have a certain amount of bitcoins, but they can't know. So that is something. Finally, people have something, some little thing that the government can't take. I mean, before the only defense you had from the government was just to like die, you know, that and escape into death, and that they can't follow you there, you know. But now we actually can hide and protect a lot of our financial strength and keep it from being confiscated, and it's easy. It's really easy to do. And I was just noticing today there's this giant sell-off in a bunch of different cryptocurrencies like Ethereum and MadeSafe and geez, Dash. I own Dash too, but that's just a little sell-off, just a few percentage. But like this morning, Ethereum was like 30% down or 35%. It was crazy, and I saw it heading that way, and I had pulled all of my original investment out a couple of weeks ago because, man, there's no way that kind of bull market can be sustained. So all I had in there was just profit. But man, this morning I just said, whoa, I pulled that shit out. So now I just own Bitcoins and Dash and MadeSafe. MadeSafe is a coin or a cryptocurrency which will fund and provide basically fuel for accessing the MadeSafe network, right? And that is like an encrypted internet within the internet. And places like that newspaper that was shut down in Turkey by their oppressive government over there, they can actually choose to, or as soon as it goes live, they'll be able to establish a website on the Safe network and run their newspaper operation in a decentralized way. And they can have reporters that have nothing but just a title instead of a name. Like, you know, off the Matrix, there were like Morpheus and Neo and Trinity and Cypher and all these cool names, right? They could do something like that. And then their print media business might only just become a sideline to their main media company, which could be on MadeSafe, and it would be free from government censorship and free from the risk that it could be closed down. The only way to close it down would be to shut the internet down. And those people, and Egypt already tried that shit, and they found that they couldn't even pay their soldiers. They couldn't pay their police or their enforcers, and if they had left the internet shut off, they would have lost control of the country within just a couple of weeks, because everything localized people would have then taken over to fill the vacuum that the central government could no longer fill. So they would effectively be resigning the whole central government. So they wouldn't do that, and it's unlikely that Turkey would do that either. So, well, that's where I am, and that's what got me thinking about medical bankruptcy is this problem, and it really is irritating. You know, you get into a decent place in your life, and you get a decent a house and some gardening space, and then by then you're so freaking old you start getting hurt. Oh well, enough bitching. There is no perfect place in a guy's life. I mean, when you're a young man, you're a teenager, you're just so crazy horny, and you don't have the means hardly, unless you're like a football player, to get some action very often. and then in your 20s, you're like nobody respects you because you're just starting out and you're young, and then in your 30s, you finally get somewhere and you're busting your ass and trying to get out of your apartment into some kind of place that you actually own. Then in your 40s, you move up, and then 50s, here I am. You get into a situation where you get more or less where you want to be, but now your body starts falling apart. So basically, there just is no perfect place in life. They've all got their pros and cons. So just sort of kick back and take a deep breath and just appreciate the good things about where you are, because nothing's ever going to be perfect. Well, I guess I'll let you guys go. So be sure not to get married. Stay MGTOW. As Canadian MGTOW says, save yourself. Go MGTOW. So later, guys.